Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observers, when I stood at the last National Family Planning Conference in 2017, and I made my closing remarks, you may remember that it was quite a specific closing ceremony that ended, on a decision that was made regarding the SRH guidelines. And so I was reflecting whether we've made any progress since that time. And the answer is a very strong and resounding, unequivocal yes. Because since the last family planning conference, the contraceptive prevalence rate has increased. The unmet need for family planning has decreased. Policies have been adopted, but specifically, as we can see here, there has been more presence and more engagement, not only from the usual suspects, as I like to call them, but in addition to those, and I'm one of those as well, more local districts, more disabled people, more religious leaders, and more academia. So that's a strong indication of progress to me. Now, what does it take to now really walk the talk and make it successful as we leave from here? It takes two things. The first is ownership, and the second is leadership. Ownership that requires coordination. Coordination, coordination, coordination among ourselves, with each other, among each other, and integration of family planning into the larger development issues and into the larger planning and budgeting frameworks, whether it's at the local or whether it is at the national level. But ownership also of the knowledge, the information, the expertise and experience that is in this room. Because when you've seen the publication of the abstracts that were presented for this conference, there is just no way family planning cannot be achieved very fast in this country. The knowledge is here. What it takes is in this room. So I really insist on that. Ownership through coordination and through integration. Those of you who know me, and I apologize in advance if I repeat some of the things, but it comes really from my heart and I strongly believe in it. My favorite topic is really leadership. And leadership, for me, has to be multidimensional and has to be contextual. Multidimensional, let me just quickly summarize it into technical leadership, managerial or emotional leadership, and political leadership. Contextual, because you are not doing things the same way, whether you are sitting in Cotido or in Munyono in a speakery zone. So let me start with a call for leadership at the community level. At the community level, by being involved and by caring about the health of the women and the girls in the community and in the family. Leadership of religious leaders, traditional leaders and cultural leaders, not to use culture, religion and tradition as an excuse, but to accept differences and leverage those differences for transformation in the interest of the well-being of the family. And that should be at the heart. Leadership of young people, people living with disabilities or who are differently able, whether they are young or old, and leadership of the NGOs and the civil society. You all need to continue to speak up. Be vocal, be bold, be visible. But do so in the interest of every woman, every boy, every girl who is not as privileged as you are to be sitting here and to be involved in high-level discussions. And do so in the interest of equitable social change. You are those that are in between the political senior leadership and the grassroots. You're right in between. So be bold, be visible, and be very vocal in the interest to promote equitable social change. But also, use your vibrancy and use your energy to talk to listen to, and to hear your parents and your grandparents. Local leaders, I call upon your leadership from LC1 to LC5. The cows, the DHOs, the CDOs, the CEOs, the RDCs, and everyone else in local leadership, from the district to the village, to lead holistically, not according to who comes first and who says what first, but to commit your budgets, your implementation plans for coordination, and coordination among all the sectors and among all the issues in your areas. I call upon leadership of the academia, professors, doctors, students, faculty. Lead us with data. Data beyond statistics, and provide us with the evidence that we need to make decisions. And most of all, lead us and help us lead with critical and analytical thinking. Now, last but not least, government and members of parliament. I call upon you to lead by example and to lead all of us together for each other and among each other. And that takes me to my final and concluding remarks. First and foremost, I would like to appreciate and give sincere thanks to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament and to the Honourable Minister of Health for their presence. I think it meant a lot to each and everyone here to see them not only physically here, but to speak passionately and very convincingly about what we are here for. Second, I want to express my sincere thanks to the organizers of this conference, and please forgive me if I'm missing out on one, and NGOs and CSOs. You know, I already mentioned you before, so let me just focus on expressing my thanks to the Ministry of Health, specifically the Commissioner, Madam Jessica, Dr. Olaru, Dr. Mihayo, and his team and their teams. And then also, thank you to the National Population Council, the entire leadership, but most and foremost to Dr. Betty Chiadondo, who is here with us still, and who was here with us yesterday and has inspired us with the tremendously good work that the NPC has been doing. So they say, last but not least, and when I talk about leadership, I have a very simple definition of what leadership is. Leadership is that you do and that you can change, that would not have been done or could not have been changed without you. And at this juncture, I'd like to recognize and to appreciate the leadership of my colleague, Rosalina Chola, and all my colleagues at UNFPA. Thank you very much.